What's up guys, and welcome back to another, I can't really say that anymore, welcome to another sporadic running and training vlog, where I'm not just talking about running shoes, we're talking about things to do with running, and mainly this is a conversation with you because I can't really contribute that much, so I want you to kind of fill in the gaps in the comments and let me know about your experience. Does that sound good? I actually miss doing these videos. My running shoe reviews are very formulaic, and basically once I've run in a certain shoe, I'm able to gather my thoughts pretty easily and then put them on the camera in pretty much the same way I do with every shoe, right? If you've been watching for a while, you know that I follow a recipe. These videos are a little different. They take a little bit more effort. I usually have to find something that I want to talk about and then actually talk about it. So keeping to that recipe, I did actually find an article in Canadian Running, and of course I will link to it in the show notes below. And that article is 3 key workouts to PB your next marathon. And this caught my attention because right now I have a marathon coming up. In fact, at the time that this video is published, the following week, I will be running the Toronto Marathon. And you know, this article caught my eye because I wanted to see if I had actually been doing what this article suggests will get me a PB. And it turns out I really haven't been doing any of these things. But that's okay because I wasn't actually running for a PB next week. But let's get into it. And I want to know if you do any of these workouts. And probably not. I know there's a few of you that watch these videos and we all do slightly different training things that work for us, or more likely stuff we actually like to do rather than what actually works for us. You know what I'm saying? What I mean is, the workouts that may make me a better runner aren't necessarily the workouts I enjoy doing. And if I'm honest, I tend to stick to the things that I enjoy rather than the things that are good for me. Anyway, this article starts out by saying that training for marathons and half marathons, they generally take years of practice. Yes, we can do a training program and jump into our first marathon. Loads of people do it all the time. But there's something to be said for getting that experience and learning about the distance and learning about different training methods. And in the first paragraph, the article says to run on hilly terrain because that will help build power in the flats. And right off the bat, that is something that I haven't done for this marathon. I don't think I've run uphill once, but that's okay. That's just one thing, right? Let me know how often you train in the hills, but let me just scroll down. Okay, the first workout is 3, 2, 1K ladders. So this workout is 2 times 3 kilometers at half marathon pace, 2 kilometers at 10K pace, and then 1 kilometer at 5K pace with 2 minutes recovery in between. That's a pretty good workout. And I can honestly say that I have never actually done this type of pyramid structure, or it's not a pyramid, it's a progression. I can honestly say that I've never done this type of structure, but I have done workouts similar. The only thing I'm missing is actually nailing those paces, going from half marathon to 10K to 5K. But what I have done is some longer intervals throughout my training block, so I'm not going to automatically count that one out that I haven't done it. I mean, it's true, I haven't done it, but I've done something similar-ish, and that's good enough for me. Okay, the next workout that the article states to PB your next marathon is marathon to half marathon pace progression repeats. And basically this is another progression run. You start out just slower than marathon pace and you work up to about half marathon pace. But I'm just reading now that the article actually says, even though it's called marathon to half marathon pace progression runs, when they break it down and they tell you actually what to do, they say 10 minutes to warm up, then 3 times 10 minutes at half marathon pace. So even though they say start out a bit slower than marathon pace and end at half marathon pace, when you get down to the actual ingredients, it actually says half marathon pace. And then of course they want you to cool down with 10 minutes of easy running. So again, I don't think I do that exactly. In fact, no, I don't do that exactly, but sometimes when I'm going out for a marathon effort run, I tend to push the envelope just a little bit, and I find myself thinking that it's not sustainable, which tells me that it's probably closer to half marathon pace than marathon pace, in which case I am running for several minutes at a time at half marathon pace. So I am also going to take this as an ish. I don't do it exactly, but I do it-ish, and ish is good enough for me. Okay, finally, the third way that I can PB my marathon is with 3-minute hill repetitions, and I've already given it away. I haven't done any hills this training block, but according to Canadian Running, if you do 3-minute intervals of running uphill between 4 and 6% incline, and then you cool down by running back down, you are going to PB your next marathon. As I said, not really looking at a PB, but I just want to do well. I mean, if I'm totally honest, I think no matter how I do, I'll be pretty happy with it, because I can generally spin anything into a positive side, even if I'm in absolute misery at the end of the race. Case in point, my Tallahassee Marathon last year, or earlier this year, that was an absolute nightmare, but still a good race. In hindsight, it was a really good race. Okay, so I've been saying that I haven't done those 3 workouts precisely, and that's because, generally speaking, at least for the last couple of years, I have been following the Hanson's marathon method. Now, I don't follow it to a T. I see their charts with all their volume and their suggested workouts, and I generally follow it. If I'm honest, I usually end up running a higher volume than the advanced training program suggests. And then because the Hanson's marathon method is a little aggressive, I tend to tweak the workouts that suit me. So case in point, with the Toronto Marathon 1 week away, if I was to follow the advanced plan of the Hanson's marathon method precisely, they would have me running a 10-mile tempo run 10 days before the marathon. Now, according to the Hanson's marathon method, when they say tempo run, they mean they want you running at marathon pace. And they suggest that 10 days before the marathon, you go out and you do 10 miles at marathon pace. Of course, you have to warm up for a couple of miles first and then cool down for a little bit after. Turns out to be quite a long run, just 10 days before the race. So I usually shrink that down just a little bit. Now, I have done a couple of 10-mile marathon pace workouts in this block, but I just don't plan on doing it 10 days before the race. I think as I get older, I need to dial back a little bit and let myself recover, let myself taper a little harder than I used to. But saying that, you know the drill. When you're starting to taper, you lower the volume, but you keep the intensity high. So I did 1 mile intervals in the second week before the race, not the last week that we're in now. So the week before filming, I did 1 mile intervals. Then I did do a tempo run, which was a marathon effort run, just to keep my legs turned over and so I don't get stuck slow. It's very easy to just go out when you're tapering and run those miles very easy, but you have to keep the intensity up. I struggle with that as I'm not a fan of intensity, but I did it. And now this week, the week before the marathon, if you're watching this on the day the video was released, I have nothing but short, easy runs all week. And hopefully that is going to kind of prime the pump, let my legs recover. I also cut out all lower body strength work for 2 weeks before the race, and in the last week before the race, I cut out all strength work altogether. So I'll pick that up about a week after the race. All right, I want to hear from you. You know, I was thinking about going over those Strava days of everything I ran on each day, but I don't think I'm going to do that this week, maybe in the next video, and I do hope to get more of these type of videos out. I'm not sure I can get back to the weekly schedule like I was for like the last year, but I'll do what I can do. I guess ultimately it comes down to time and finding enough stuff to talk about. Maybe I should start doing live streams. That way I can rely on you guys to kind of fill the time to talk about stuff. It's a lot easier to talk with someone for 10 minutes than it is to actually talk to yourself or talk to the camera. And we haven't done this in a minute, but if you have made it till this point in the video, why don't you drop the checkered flag emoji in the comments so I know that you've made it all the way to the end. And the checkered flag is mainly just because I really hope to get to the end of the race where I can see the checkered flag. There probably won't be a checkered flag, but that is the reason that I want you to drop it in the comments. And with that, it's Matt B. Be kind, be happy, run well. I will see you in a couple of days.